Alright, this is going to be the first video where I'm going to show my face. I know I only made one other video, but in order to actually get out there for people to actually see me, so I can be relatable in some way. So, the last video I made, explain my whole thing, the situation I'm in, currently at 2 in the morning in my bedroom right now. So trying to do this, like I said, show my face. So, alright, so last time I mentioned that, the whole reason why one of the reasons why I'm kind of wanting to do this is because, recent stuff I just watch on YouTube, because it's kind of what I do, is just watch YouTube for the most part, is the channel Snokes, if anybody knows him. Like, he came out with like a video where it's like, I realize, like, I'm 35 and I realize what I did, blah blah blah, those kind of videos and stuff like that, the vlogs and stuff. So kind of guess, I'm inspired a little bit. Not really, like, I know I also mentioned, like, I can't really relate to a lot of stuff because, like, I don't really smoke, or I'm not that old. I just graduated from college, so I'm 23. But like, just that type of idea, just making whatever's in the top of the mind type stuff, and just life stuff in general, So last time, kind of mentioned a lot about money, and I mentioned like the situation that I'm in as far as living situation and stuff. I don't know how I want to title this video just yet. I'm thinking of something along the lines of like money, credit, and patience, or money, loss, and patience, or something like that. So it's going to be one of those two ideas, but obviously you'll know when you see it, or I'll know, since this is just kind of a thing for me to go back on and watch and see how I progress. I don't know what these videos are for, just yelling into the abyss. Alright, so how should I start this one? I want to be more specific about the numbers that I kind of mentioned, because again, I'm going to be free balling, spitting the amounts of money that, just come across my mind and stuff. So making $18.64 an hour. I started work last March, not May. So the following year, I made a total of like $22,000 after taxes. Out of that, I managed to save $13,000 of the $22,000, into the savings account. A few months ago, I want to say it was like around October area, I started a high yield savings account with Marcus by Goldman Sachs, and at the time the percentage was like 3.65 annually. So like for every $1,000 I would have in it, it would be like 10 cents a day, pretty much. So I managed to make like only $100 some off of it by now, I think it is. Yeah. So it's not like too much money, but currently, because that was $13,000 is what I managed to save. Currently, I'm at $16,000 in that account, and my goal is to see if I can get to $20,000 before I kind of either just stop in general, or I don't really know, My original goal when I first started working at the current position I'm in was to save $20,000, and that would be like enough for me to like buy some sort of car that would get me to point A to point B, some sort of down payment on a house, possibly a bit more for actually like buying a house, and then like having like a few like $2,000 for like furniture and stuff like that to actually like get started living and stuff. But then like, you know, everything that's happened recently, which is housing in general, is just out of the mind. Yeah, that kind of money. Like I would need, if I really wanted to do that, I feel like to feel comfortable, I would need $50,000 to just start, you know. And that's mostly because of the house. Like I feel like $5,000 should get me like a beater with a heater, so I can get to work, I can get home, nothing else, you know. But anyhow, yeah, right now I'm at $16,000 in that account. I have, because I go through a credit union, so it doesn't really have a high percentage as far as its savings and all that stuff. But in my regular savings, currently I have $4,000, which $1,000 I want to keep in there for an emergency. I don't know what kind of emergency, but just in case, you know. The other $3,000, I am currently just sitting on it. I'm deciding whether or not I want to put it back into the high yield savings, or if I just keep it where it's at. I know this is going to be boring, but currently, if you happen to watch the last video or whatever, I'm currently doing graduate school to get my master's, and I work for the university that I'm getting it through. Like I already have my undergrad from the university, and then, you know, I have a crappy job, blah blah blah. And I'll get into that a little bit more later. But anyhow, getting this degree through it and stuff, and they have like this remission program. So basically, for the graduate stuff, it pays for like 80% as long as like I'm a B average or above, whatever. This would be the second week that classes have started for the summer, and it's online classes. I've done the online classes before. The only difference with this is that I don't know. I can't really say. It's only the first week that I've went through so far. But anyhow, I'm trying to stay on topic and stuff. That's why I'm keeping the 3,000 currently. Like it's up in the air whether or not I'm going to move it or not, because I have exactly $793.30 that needs to be paid for technically by the first of the following month, June, in order to make sure my account's not delinquent or whatever, which I think like the late fee is like only $20, but trying to you know, count literally every cent, so $20 might not seem that bad, but in my opinion, with the amount of money that I'm making and stuff, it's just yeah, $20 is a lot of money. Anyhow, moving on from that, I guess a little bit, trying to move away from that just constant chatter of just money, or at least like a payment that I have to make. There's that. It sucks because it's May currently, and this month is like a 3-pay period month, which might not seem that bad, but it sucks because I just got my last check, which is like the middle of the month, and by the end of the month, which is going to be like the first of the month, basically, when I get my next check, I'm going to have to pay for rent, and I'm going to have to pay for car insurance. And currently, I don't know if I explained it last time, but so I send like a portion of what I get paid for to the parents, because I live with parents, and they pay for a portion, I pay for a portion, whatever. I won't really get too specific any more than I have about that. But anyhow, so because the way that we've been doing it recently is like they'll send me an amount of money and I'll pretty much pay for all of it up front, because they know that I have this savings account and everything else. So with both of those, which also beside the car insurance is like $200 some, so that's another payment. So all in all, I'm looking at probably spending that full $3,000, and then like when I get paid my next check, I'll be able to live off of that for the next 2 weeks until the following paycheck. But I'm contemplating it a little bit right now, because right now I'm sitting at $1,027.61 in the checkings. And if I paid for my classes this semester, I'll have like $484 to live off of for the next 9 days. Getting really specific here with these numbers. I'm trying to budget my money as best as I can. So that's that. Moving on a little bit with my current position and stuff. I mean, nothing's changed in the past week, except for because last summer I noticed a lot of these office positions for bookkeeping, for office maintenance, whatever, filing stuff. And I have recently applied to 4 positions, one of which I don't believe I will get, but it's whatever. One position I have applied to back in March, but they applied the position on their website for the starting date or whatever, which would be in June. But I don't know, it's weird why they would do that, because like the original start date was like in May. So I don't know if it was just something on their part, whatever. They just had to switch up. The third position is kind of where I feel like I should begin, and it's more for experience than the money, but it's worse than what I'm getting paid right now, because it starts out at $15 an hour, $16.26 an hour, I guess, if they happen to want to pay me that. But because I don't have no prior experience with it, I'll probably start out with $15 an hour. And then the fourth position was just put up yesterday, and it starts out at $22 an hour, 23 something. I think it was like $23.17 an hour at the maximum. Out of those 4, one of them I don't believe I'm going to get, because once you have a degree, and it starts out at like $70,000 a year. It's a lot of money. But it wants you to have like 5 years experience dealing with maintenance crews, including HVAC, electrical, plumbing, all that jazz. And it wants you to have like additional experience on the campus, which I feel like that's where I would meet. And then also because I have a degree. But $70,000, that's a lot of responsibility. And for what they're asking and stuff and everything else, like, I don't see it happening. Because I only have 1 year of work experience with the university, but I have 4 years of being on campus as a student, So who knows? The second position that I mentioned, which would significantly be lower in money, that starts at $15 an hour is a bookkeeping position for, I think it was for one of the dining halls. And it's just bookkeeping, right? It like if the positions or whatever, they have like minimum qualifications, and then they have what they prefer. So like the minimum qualifications is they want you to have like up to 18 months of post-secondary education. I already have that. I have an undergrad. I have a bachelor's, right? And my bachelor's in economics, if I haven't mentioned that or whatever. Most of the classes I took were in accounting and stuff. I'm trying to be more confident because, again, I don't want to be too specific because I don't really know. But most of the classes I've taken have been in either economics or business related, business management related, or accounting. Basically, is my whole degree, the sum of it. And I feel like that position is going to be the best for experience. So obviously, it's probably an entry level job to begin with, but I don't know where else to start. I'm trying to think of where else I can go with my degree, where I live. That's a whole story of where I live because it's really bad for work right now and just in general. But anyhow, that's that second position. It's bad for the money, but probably going to be good as like an entry level position for what I have right now. Because they prefer you to have up to 18 months, or the bare minimum is they want you to have 18 months of post-secondary school, but like they prefer to have you have an associate's or whatever. So the third position, I'm going to mix them up there, the second, third. But the third position that I applied for it back in March. They haven't responded or anything like that, but it is working at the Alumni Center on the campus. And basically, the way that it was described is like your bookkeeping, but for like donations, basically. So, like, from what I can gather about it, is like if a former student wants to donate to a certain department, then I have to allocate that money to said department and, bookkeep it, pretty much, whatever. I'm pretty sure that's the gist of the job. It's around the same amount that I'm getting paid currently. It's like 19 cents less at $18.45 an hour. So I feel like that one would be pretty good at like I would be able to save how much I am currently, but also, gain the experience. So that's like the middle ground right there, position. That would be the best one, in my opinion. I don't see it happening though, because for it wants you to have prior experience with the stuff, obviously, bookkeeping, all that jazz. And again, they haven't reached out to me. I tried reaching out to them because there was an email for the hiring manager and everything else. And I hate doing that. I hate doing that because I feel like every time I have done that with prior jobs I've applied for, they get back with me immediately. And it's like, yep, you've been denied. Like, we finally looked over your application or whatever, and you're denied. So, yeah. So maybe I ruined my chances there. So that's the third one. The fourth one, currently, I applied for it 2 days ago. Trying to remember everything about it. It's $22 an hour, starts out at. And I'm pretty sure, I'm trying to remember, the title is like Executive Financial Assistant. So I'm pretty sure the way that it was described is that I'm working in an office, not really bookkeeping, but I'll be working like as a glorified receptionist, pretty much, because you just like communicate with the office, basically, and you communicate with different departments on the in the university. I don't know. So I don't know about that one. That one though, it seemed like the best for the money besides the $70,000 a year position. So who knows? Anyhow, it takes usually like a month for these positions to get back to you. Anyhow, unless it says it, starting day is sooner, but for the most part, I've seen these positions start out like midsummer. So maybe in the next couple weeks I'll hear something for somebody somewhere. What else can I talk about besides that? So earlier I know I mentioned, like, I don't know what I'm going to title this because there's a topic that I want to speak about, but I think it's going to be way later down the line. I'm trying to just, think over it. I know I mentioned, like, kind of doing these type of videos and stuff like that because of Snokes, however you want to say it. And I guess I'll kind of get in one topic. I remember watching one video. This was a couple days ago. And I remember him just speaking about, like, what is it that you want? Not only in a position, but just in life. Is, like, do you want to be comfortable or do you want happiness? And, lately, for the past year, since I've been at this position, and again, not to be a doomer too much, but, I know I mentioned that I've kind of lost purpose in what I'm trying to achieve. Because I again, or maybe not again, because again, I don't think I've explained it, but I don't know what I want. I do, but I don't know how to achieve it at the current, like, state that I'm in. Besides trying to find a better job and stuff. And, it's hard just in general because the economy, just the way that the world is, yada yada. But I think if I had more of one over the other right now, I have more comfort than I do happiness. Because, well, I got a roof over my head. I'm able to eat food, I'm not starving. I'm able to save money, I just don't think that I'm at a state of happiness because there are a lot of things that I haven't had or could do better in. But it goes into the third thing that I was going to talk about, and that is patience. And I'll get into talking about that a little bit more. But for now, I'm trying to look at the bright side of things. I'm applying stuff. I'm doing this degree. So I'm trying to keep my head out of thinking of things. Like right now, a lot of my schedule is just go to work, go home, go to work, go home, go to work, go home. And basically my days off are spent I'm sitting in front of a TV screen, or I'm just sitting on my phone doing nothing but watching YouTube or whatever. So, trying to do a little bit better. I know, like, last time I mentioned, like, again, I don't do a lot of social media, and the few apps I do have, I'll recall them here. So I got Facebook, I have YouTube, I have Discord, and last time I mentioned I had Reddit, and recently I went ahead and deleted it. I'm not going to get too much into the reason why I deleted it, but for the most part, I'll just say I think it just contributes to the whole dooming a little bit. You know, I think I'm doing it a little bit on YouTube with some of the other stuff that I'm watching, but again, I'm just trying to do a little bit better by getting rid of one thing at a time. I know I mentioned, like, I deleted TikTok a while ago, so I have not re-downloaded it or anything. So, and then I've never had Snapchat, I've never had Instagram, nothing like that. Never had Twitter or X, whatever. So, recap: YouTube, Facebook, Discord. That is it. That is all the social media that I currently have. Yeah. Mainly to explain what I use all three for. Currently use Facebook mainly just to scroll on Marketplace. What's up for sale? Basically. A little bit of looking like what's happening in town, but I can watch the news if I really wanted to do that. So maybe that'll be the next thing I look into getting rid of. But I also use like Messenger to, you know, talk with people if need be and everything else. So who knows? And then Discord, I don't really use it for weird intentions or dooming or anything like that, but I will say, if you can see the stuff behind me there, the lamp, and I don't know if you know what that is. That's paint stuff. Kind of recently got back into miniatures a little bit. I don't know if I haven't mentioned it, I don't think, here, but so I know last time I kind of mentioned that I think never been diagnosed or anything, but I'm not depressed. I think I have anhedonia because I've just lost interest in anything and everything that I would have in the past find enjoyment in. Because again, the only thing I do is like watch YouTube or sit in front of a TV, and I'll just watch the same stuff over and over and over again. But I've kind of gotten back into miniatures a little bit. Yeah, I'll talk about it a little bit. So I do not get out of the house, obviously, a lot, but there is one shop that I am part of on a server on Discord. Basically, just to see like what's happening in the store, events, and all of that jazz. But I went into the store last weekend. Not last weekend, but the weekend before, and I splurged a little bit because I did get my tax return back, which wasn't a lot of money, but I bought me a box of minis or whatever to kind of get back into a little bit. I mean, this is like the 5th time that I've tried doing this, but with another card shop, recently they've like come out with like this not tournament, but like just post what you're working on as far as painting and stuff like that. And recently I've been trying to do that a little bit. It's like a month-long thing, and that's with another card shop, but or a local game store, whatever you want to call it. But I've been just trying to do a little bit more as far as hobbies and stuff like that, just to kind of stop watching as much TV, or kind of just like phase out, you know, have something to do. Maybe I'll post something here or whatever when I finish. See if it goes anywhere. I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Trying not to do that either. Say a lot. Like, why would I? Need to breathe here. Try to think for a minute. I know last time when I was ending off the last video, because again, I'm just trying to put myself out there, and I'm trying to do more and just try to interact outside of the bedroom and outside of, where I live and stuff, my head was spinning a lot. And I don't know. I think it's just, the fact that I don't really talk a lot, At work, I'm just there to work, not really interact with anybody that I work with, and pretty much go home for the day. That is my whole thing. I'm there for the paycheck, nothing more, nothing less. And I mean, do I see myself doing any better there? No, because again, with it is kind of a dead end job, and the people that I work with, because again, I'm 23. I can't relate to them. They're like my parents' age and stuff. There's not much for me to talk about there because I don't know. There's not a lot of stuff that I can relate to with what they talk about and stuff. I don't have a kid. I don't have things to do like around home. As far as like, I don't have a wife. I don't have those kind of responsibilities. Maybe I should listen. I don't know. Just to kind of engage a little bit with, the people that I am around from a day-to-day basis. But anyhow, get on to some other topic. What should I talk about? Because I'm trying not to talk about money as much. I am trying to put my face out there just to see, actually, interact, not being antisocial and stuff. I think everything's doing okay. I did watch the last video that I made, and I think it's just kind of like open my mind a little bit, because again, I'm trying not to doom too much, and that's why I've kind of got back into trying to do miniatures, because the only thing I can really do is to work on myself, right? And do better every day, whatever, personal growth. So, trying to stick to some routine a little bit, just spending my time mainly right now working on, homework for this program, degree, whatever you want to say, call it whatever. Again, not much is happening there because like the first week is like all about introductions and stuff like that. One of the two classes I have been in or whatever posts their work or whatever, for me to do. So getting in, getting out, pretty much. Maybe I should do more, because again, I feel like I'm not confident enough to in what I do probably already know or should know, because I have this degree already in hand. But I feel like most of my time looking back was like in one ear, out the other kind of stuff. But I feel like I just don't give myself enough credit, because even though I didn't do like any physical work, like through an internship or an actual job, I got this degree, right? Like, they don't just hand them out just like that. So I think I need to review what I do know and just speak louder about it, give myself a bit of a confidence boost. So, yeah, I think everything's going okay. I'm gonna try and make these weekly, pretty much, as best as I can, to kind of set some sort of routine. I know I'm kind of looking off camera a lot. I'm just fidgeting with stuff here. Just, again, maybe I'll get more used to it as time goes on making these. So I'm just hoping to do a little bit better every day, pretty much. That is the main goal. Again, I think with this one, because like looking back at the last thing that I made, the whole thing, I feel like I constantly spoke about money and just finances and just like the struggle and everything else. Everybody's dealing with the struggle and everything else. I'm trying to put more specific numbers out there just for the fact that maybe with me being more specific in my issue, I can better understand others' issues, and maybe I'll get some help along the way. Maybe I'll look back at this and maybe I'll come up with something later on and just have a better game plan. Because currently, my game plan is just to save at some certain point and sit on it. So I get there is some risk in all investments, no matter what you do. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. But I'm trying, I shouldn't say that. I do not want to invest in stocks. I do not want to buy lottery tickets, because anything and everything that is related to something that does not contain the word guarantee is gambling. If it's not guarantee, it's gambling. That is kind of how I'm looking at things as far as investments and likewise. Do I see myself turning the money that I have right now into double the money? No. The high yield savings account that I have currently, if I save even to $20,000, which is kind of the current goal that I am trying to get to, that's $2 a day. I think they lowered the rate now too, so like technically with $20,000, because I think it's like 3.45% is the percentage they give back as far as your interest. So I think, trying to do some math on the top of my head, if I had $20,000, I'd be at like $50, $45 after taxes are taken out from the bank, as far as what I would make monthly. So again, not making a whole bunch of money, but it is making some money, right? And it's not just sitting in just a random savings account that's making me like 3 cents a month, because that's what I had prior. And then I'm trying to learn a little bit better. I know I should probably know what to look into with this degree as far as being related to finances, but yeah, this is kind of not really new, because again, I've had this high yield savings account for several months now, but trying to just figure out what I should do with the money that I have on hand, So that's where I'm at. I'm going to try to stop talking about money a little bit. That's where I just want to be at for now. Talked about trying to do better as far as finding interest and just not necessarily wasting time, but just knowing that my time is important. That's the next topic that I would talk about, is patience. Patience and time. Maybe I'll title the video around that, something I haven't figured out. Just rolling off the top of my head type stuff. This is what we're doing here. So, it's only been a year since I've worked at this position. And somewhat into the topic of like the coworkers I have and obviously parents and stuff like that. I get to be where you want to be as far as like your work and how you're living and the situation and what you want to be in obviously takes a lot of time. Like literally, I'm 23, like these people are double my age. It took them that amount, and some of these people don't even own their homes, let alone a car, and they're working in the same paycheck as I am, right? Obviously, like anybody else, I want to be in a better position. And again, that's why I'm trying to apply to these positions, because I knowing the money that I have right now, and knowing that, because likely I'll probably be at where I'm at possibly for the next year. So I'll reach my financial goal that I have currently set. It can be better, obviously. Anything can be better. But I think part of what I have to situate myself into this goal of mine that I have currently set, once I am here, I just need to stop and just think not only about like what I'm doing in the future, but what I'm doing now. Excuse me. And that's why I feel like I should probably step away from not really the amount I'm making right now, but I really need to drive the nail in the head, and that is that I need to work for experience over what I've learned, because experience trumps any education, it seems like, as far as this day and age, and that's why degrees are not sought off after. Obviously, you got other reasons like AI usage and stuff like that, and maybe that's the reason why I can't like really find these bookkeeping positions that I so desperately want as far as an entry level position. But one step at a time, right? So I'm trying to remember the topic I was talking about. So obviously patience, right? That's the whole main topic that I'm trying to get to in this point. A lot of time is what I just need, and a lot of time is what people don't have. And I think with the time that I do have currently, I just need to focus on my education, because that is the main priority as far as right now. Obviously, money is probably bigger thing on my plate. But I think, looking back at these situations that others are in and our current state that we're in, I think I'm doing okay. And I just need to think positively about that, because things obviously can be better. And what better way can you make things better for yourself than just to do them? So, sure, I can work a second job, I guess, maybe, whatever. I mean, the current position I'm in is like second position, so it's kind of sucks, because like I'd much rather work a third position since I'm already awake and stuff. But the place I live, even though it's a college town, like the university is basically the only thing that provides employment, and I do not know anybody that works more than two positions or two positions at the university, because probably a whole thing against their policies or whatever. I don't know. Again, try not to doom thinking about like jobs in general, because I am working a job, right? So praise be to that again. So, but anyhow, I think I just need to be patient and take my time with things, and maybe I'll finally get to where I want to be, in the place I want to be. Obviously, end goals, right? Long-term goals, way down the line, years down the line, right? But as far as the short term and setting myself up for success in the short term, I have some sort of goal for where I want to be as far as money. I have some sort of goal as far as where I want to be as far as work, since I'm seeing more positions being put up. Maybe hopefully. And I'm setting myself up as far as short-term success with just simple hobbies, you know. So, I think I just want to end this note with just a review, conclusion, right? So, currently sitting at technically $20,000 currently, but I'm about to lose a bunch of money because, you know, first of the month stuff, and obviously paying for my schooling. So we're not necessarily there, but give it or take another month or two, I should be at where I want to be as far as right now for financial goals. So that's topic number 1. Topic number 2, getting back into hobbies a little bit, trying to find better interest, or trying to get back into what used to interest me a little bit more, and trying to also with things like that, as I mentioned before, trying to engage more outside of where I'm at, you know, being stuck in my room or being at work or sitting in front of a TV. I'm trying to engage with more people, even if it's online, right? Because the next step after that is to actually go and physically see the people or whatever, you know. So that's that. And then third is patience. I have some sort of goal set in mind. All it's taking right now is time to get there. And hopefully we will, which I don't see no doubt. And I'm knock on wood. I'm not going to really say anything more, but we will get there. So I think that's about it. And I hope doing this, even if nobody sees it, I think this is just going to be for myself to look back on, because who knows, 5-10 years down the line, I hope I will be in a better place than where I am currently. So I think that is it.